the honor of introducing our next speaker. So we have Mayor Matthew Mahan with us this evening, and he is an American politician and tech entrepreneur, now serving his first term as mayor of San Jose. He previously served as the District 10 council member representing the Alameda Valley, Blossom Valley, and Vista Park neighborhoods in 2005. Mayor Mahan graduated from Harvard University in 2005, and after Harvard, he spent the next year building irrigation systems in Bolivia. He then joined Teach for America. In 2008, he joined a tech startup led by Sean Parker and Joe Green, and together they formed Causes, an early Facebook application focused on grassroots and public engagement that helped raise money for nonprofit engagements. Mayor Mahan became CEO and president of Causes in 2013. And in 2014, he launched Brigade, which was created as a social medium for civil engagement. And in 2019, it was acquired by Pinterest. And shortly after, in 2021, he was sworn in as the District 10 council member and subsequently as the mayor. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mayor Mahan.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me, and good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Good, all right, good. Really happy to be here and honored to have the opportunity to give you a quick address here as part of your program. I really love this concept of a unity dinner. I know this is the 22nd annual unity dinner. It's a really beautiful idea. I want to thank Siobhan and Rahul Zuchi, who I know are founders of the Indo-American Community Federation, and Anjali, who's just kind enough to introduce me, and I believe Shyla, their daughter, who, or youngest panelist, who's been raising awareness on gun violence. So really appreciate the support from the family. Mr. Dr. Ramesh Kanda, great to have you here. I didn't know, were you going to say anything? Or no? You want me to just jump in? Okay. So I'll try to be brief. I thought that what I would do, and I'll try to move it along here, but just give you a quick update on some of the things we're doing in the city of San Jose to better address violence in the community, particularly gun violence. I know you just had a panel on that topic, so I thought I'd just highlight a few things quickly. You know, as you might expect, one area of focus, of course, is enforcement. San Jose is very understaffed when it comes to our police department. We are committed to implementing best practices of community policing, but when you're way behind on your response times, when you're just quickly rushing from priority one call to priority one call, it's hard to actually get out of the car and walk the beat and get to know people and really be rooted in the community and build authentic relationships. So we do need to get staffing levels to a place where our officers can take a breath and get out into the community and build relationships. Just to put it in perspective, we are about 15% larger than San Francisco, about 160,000 more residents, about 16% larger. We have fewer than half as many police officers. So that's been a challenge for us ever since our pension challenges and the Great Recession. So we are still rebuilding the department. As we do that, though, we're really hoping, and I've been an advocate for narrowing the types of calls we respond to. There are a lot of calls to 911 that do not require an officer with a badge and a gun to be the first responder. Mental health related calls, calls involving youth, calls involving our unhoused communities. So we're trying to be smarter about sending an alternative response when appropriate. And we've had some examples of programs that have been very successful. Our MCAT unit, which is sending officers who have special training in de-escalation, have responded now to over 2,000 mental health related calls without having one violent episode. And I really think part of that is just those extra hours of training and really learning how to respond to a mental health related call. We're really grateful to our partners at the county who have, and I think we frankly need more investment in this, but programs where we actually send a trained clinician, not even an officer. So I think that's very promising. We also have a new unit that is focused on ghost guns in particular. As you probably know, a growing amount, in fact in San Jose now, a majority of our gun-related violent episodes involve ghost guns, which are unserialized, untraceable weapons. So we're putting more emphasis on tracking the manufacture of those and doing enforcement. We've had some pretty highly publicized interventions where we've actually found homes in San Jose where they're being manufactured. And that's never for a good reason, let me tell you. You also may have heard, this is maybe the most innovative thing we've been doing. We passed some new gun laws that went into effect January 1st. We're the first city in the country to require liability insurance if you want to own and keep guns in your home. And the theory here is, like any other liability insurance that tries to price risk, we know that having guns in your home increases the likelihood of an accident or of non-accidental use of the gun. And so we are trying to incentivize insurance companies to ask tough questions of gun owners. Do you have a gun safe? Do you have a child safety lock? And actually use risk-adjusted premiums, just as you would have if you have a pool in your backyard or even a trampoline. Your insurance company wants to know that, and your premiums are adjusted based on your risk factors. And so we now actually have a policy that requires that those who keep guns in their home actually be in possession of an insurance policy with general liability to cover gun-related accidents. We also have a fee. It's not meant to be punitive, but gun owners must actually pay a $20 to $30, we haven't implemented it yet, but it'll be around $20 to $30 per year. And that money will go to local nonprofits that invest in supporting victims of domestic violence, doing more education around gun restraining orders, basically getting the information out to ensure that the community knows how themselves to better manage the issue of gun violence. At the local level, we can't do a lot about gun ownership, but we can do more to mitigate its impacts and make sure that we're investing in education and gun violence protection, and particularly protecting vulnerable residents. We know domestic violence is a very serious issue and often, sadly, is a more lethal issue when a gun is involved. But beyond that, so I talked a little bit about enforcement and some regulatory things that we're doing. We also know, thinking holistically, that we have to get lower in the stack and think about the conditions that lead to violence, whether with a gun or not. And that's really about investing in our youth. We're expanding after-school programs, particularly targeting our census tracts, where we have the highest levels of unemployment, the highest levels of violence. We've got to get in earlier. We are thinking more holistically about what equity means. We're looking at all of our city services and using data analysis to help us understand how effectively we're delivering basic services, particularly to our traditionally underserved neighborhoods. So we have a new scoring system for the quality of our parks. We score our roads every year. We have a very comprehensive report now on, it may sound very simple and not that important, but tree canopy cover. And it matters. We have districts with significantly better tree canopy cover. And the research shows that neighborhoods that are better shaded are cooler, and they actually have less violence, believe it or not. People's mental well-being is better when they're in a neighborhood that is surrounded with nature, and they have shade, and the air is a little bit cleaner. And so we're really trying to look at basic city services and resources that we're responsible for, and making sure we're bringing every neighborhood up to a level that we think is acceptable. Of course, beyond that, maybe I'll end on this point, our biggest challenge is lack of housing. And I really think that at a fundamental level, economic insecurity, when people are spending 50% of their income on rent and have no savings, and are terrified that if they lose their job, they're going to end up on the streets. That's not an environment that's conducive to thriving children and happy parents and the kinds of outcomes that we want. And on that front, I mean, the reality is this. It is a failure of public policy. We have regionally added 6 jobs for every 1 home we've built over the last decade plus, a couple decades now. It's great that we have a vibrant economy. I don't want to slow that down. And in fact, now that we're seeing companies lay people off, I mean, we should all be really grateful for the incredible innovation and the engine of economic growth and prosperity that we have here in Silicon Valley. But you can't have that without doing the other things, without investing in infrastructure, particularly transit and mass transportation infrastructure, and enabling the building of homes. And so in San Jose, we are working hard to do the pre-planning, to streamline permitting, to make it easier to build up in our downtown, in North San Jose, near all of our transit corridors. We do need to be thoughtful about it. We don't want to build up Coyote Valley. We don't want to densify the periphery of the city and just double our traffic congestion and air pollution. But there are plenty of places in San Jose, and I would argue across the region, where the future is going to be building up in mixed-use, walkable environments. And those environments, I think, can be more livable and more affordable because we'll better match supply and demand. So the list goes on, but I think we have to really think, we talk about violence, even something as specific as gun violence. I do think we have to think holistically about the constellation of policy issues that contribute to a community that's either thriving, has lower stress levels, and people are happier and better educated, have more opportunity, and those that don't. Clearly, as a region, we face some real challenges, some of them being victims of our own success. We've grown so much and really struggled to manage that growth in a way that's good for our families and for our kids. So I could go on, but I just appreciate the opportunity to share a quick update from the city of San Jose, some of the things that we've been working on, and please feel free to reach out to our office anytime. You can find my contact information on the city website. We've got a newsletter that goes out to about 70,000 people every other week with policy updates and opportunities to volunteer and get involved. Would love to connect with you and see you out at one of our community cleanups or other service activities. And again, appreciate the spirit in which you've all gathered this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to address the great gathering here. Have a great evening.